In this video, I'm going to show you how to track a home cooked meal in the MyNetDiary calorie tracking app. I'm going to use the example of a family roast dinner. So let's click on the lunch tab and start to search for our food. I always like to put in the protein component first. So let's say we're having a roast beef dinner. I'm going to press the plus tab. And then rather than search the entire database, I'm going to slide over and go to the Staples tab. This is where MyNetDiary has thinned down the database and it's going to give you way less options, so it's going to make it less overwhelming to use. Let's say we've got a roast joint of beef. It's probably going to be something like a sirloin. So I'm going to type in beef and I'm going to type in sirloin. As you see, that narrows it down. I'm going to click on there. Now, what this is telling me is it's got some of the fat trimmed off, which it normally will do from the butcher, and it's in the raw state. So have a good old guess, but normally a relatively large portion for a Sunday roast is going to be around about 120 grams raw weight. So let's just stick that in as an educated best guess. We're going to take that data and we're going to press log. That's stuck in. We can see 241 calories, about 25 grams of protein. Now on to the next thing. Perhaps we've got some roast potatoes in there. I'm going to press plus. I'm going to go again to the Staples tab and type in potato. You see baked potato with skin without salt. So we can put that in. Probably going to end up with a medium potato each if we're being generous. So we'll just use that as a really rough rule of thumb. Now, when we make a roast dinner, those potatoes are going to be roasted in some kind of fat. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to type in oil again under the Staples tab. And we'll just pick olive oil. It's going to be close enough to what we've used. If we've used lard or something, we can put that in there as well. But ultimately, the oils are going to be a similar amount of calories. So we're going to click that. Now, normally when it's family cooking or even restaurant cooking, it's going to be quite generous with the oil. So let's just put in 1 or 2 tablespoons of oil. Let's say 1 for now. That's going to be about 120 calories. Make sure we've got tablespoon, not teaspoon. As you can see, those are very different. We'll just select 1 tablespoon. Use that as a little bit of a rule of thumb. Now, in terms of all of the other vegetables, if it's not a potato, just don't track it. Get as many greens on your plate as you can. That's going to bulk it up. That's going to make for a filling meal. Then, if we have anything else on the plate that might contain a reasonable amount of calories, let's get that in there as well. So, for example, let's say we've had some cauliflower cheese with that. I'm not too bothered about the calories in the cauliflower. I'll show you why in a second. If we go Staples and type in C-A-U, spell it right, we can see 1 cup of cauliflower is like 25 calories. It's not really contributing a lot. But if we type in cheese, cheddar cheese, and we say, let's say, cup of melted cheese, see, very calorific. We're not going to have a whole cup in there. I would guess at maybe we've got 20 grams of cheese in there. You can see a little bit more calories wise. We could even say we've got 30. Let's just put that in and say it's a really generous helping of cauliflower cheese. Log that. As we can see there, about 650 calories for the meal. If we want to include something like a Yorkshire pudding, what I would do is search for a brand. So we've got Aunt Bessie's is like a brand of frozen ones you can buy. You've got a good idea of what that size would be, and we can just stick that in. As you can see, 2 of those ones that you buy from the supermarket, around about 100 calories. If we only have 1 of those ones that are about a fist size, it's 50 calories. So let's just track that. Now we can see we've got a 700 calorie meal. It's about 40 grams worth of protein in there. If we want to reduce down that meal, all I would suggest is to start to look for the highest calorie items that don't have very much protein in. So that is probably going to be the cheddar cheese in this example. We're not really going to be able to remove the oil because everything's already been roasted in that and we haven't cooked it ourselves. So let's tap that tab. As you can see down here, we've got mostly fat, a little bit of protein from the cheese. So maybe we'll just have a smaller portion of cauliflower cheese. Turn that down. As you can see, the calories come down. If you think, not particularly into cauliflower cheese today, I'll save a few calories, we can just then get rid of that to bring down the overall amount. If you think perhaps I don't fancy as much potato, you can tap on that and maybe reduce it to half and sort of switch down your portion of potatoes a little bit and make that meal a little bit more reasonable. Hopefully that gives you a little bit of clarity as to how simple it can be. Again, I'm not bothered about green vegetables. I would say don't track any vegetables unless it's a potato, but move the biggest rocks, things like oil, cheeses, and include your protein source in there. Those are going to contribute the most calories.